Good evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Welcome back to another live stream on the channel. We have got a lot to go through tonight. Another day and some more Leicester City transfer news. It looks like we're close to bringing in a new striker, a new attacker in Adam Hlozek from Bayer Leverkusen on loan. So we're going to get into that tonight, discuss the player. I've got a few updates on the Wilfried Zaha deal. That does look like it could potentially be going through as well. And a bit of update on the Fotis Ioannidis deal from Panathinaikos from Greece. I'm a bit unsure on that one, but there has been a reported bid submitted, so we will discuss that one as well from some very reliable Leicester City sources. But before we get into anything, as we always say, drop a like on the stream, get involved in the chat. We'll get into that a lot tonight with your guys' opinions on the two players who look to be close to be joining Leicester. And of course, subscribe as well to the channel if you haven't already. We're about 9 subscribers away from 4K. So if you can hit that by Tottenham, which is obviously a week away now, that will be massively appreciated. But anyway, let's get into the chat tonight then. For you guys in here already, good evening. It's very encouraging to hear the news about Hlozek. Yeah, it's good. Finally, really. It's about time we've got some strong players and some strong rumours. Obviously, Buonanotte got announced a couple of days ago or yesterday, which was obviously good to see. Not yesterday, Saturday. Sorry. And also we got these two who look very close as well, especially Hlozek. That deal looks like it's going to be announced very soon. I'm probably going to butcher his name, so we'll try and learn that one. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be a done deal pretty soon, and potentially here we go tonight, which is obviously fantastic news. We'll get into his stats analysis a bit later. Rene, hope you're doing all right. Yeah, same. I think it's two fantastic bits of business. I think Zaha, I'm very happy with if that one can get done. So I still think he's got a lot to offer in terms of Premier League ability. Obviously, we went through him the other night quite a bit, but there's not too much point going through Zaha's stats and whatnot because I think we all know what type of player he is. If he's a striker or a winger, obviously remains to be decided. But I think Leicester could still do with another two strikers coming in. But anyway, let's get into the reports then. So this was the first report from Fabrizio Romano earlier on today. So exclusive, Leicester City are in advanced talks to sign Adam Hlozek from Bayer Leverkusen. Negotiations at the final stages between the clubs for a loan with an obligation to buy. LCFC want to get it done, as club sources confirm. Talks still ongoing on the players' side before the here we go. Now that was obviously today, completely random, out of absolute nowhere, which has been a repeated pattern with Leicester's transfers. As so far this season, as we've said multiple times. So, in terms of the players who have had long-term interest in Leicester, I'd probably say they're less likely to join than anybody else because this, came out of the complete blue. And then obviously later on today, we got another update, which at this point is the latest in the saga. Obviously, this is all coming from Fabrizio Romano as well, so extremely reliable. So if I just find the latest on that in terms of the thing a bit earlier on today, a couple of hours ago. So yeah, more on Adam Hlozek and Leicester City exclusive story. Agreement 100% done between LCFC and Bayer Leverkusen for 20 million total package and add-ons. Loan with obligation to buy if Leicester will stay in the Premier League. Negotiations ongoing in terms of the personal terms. Hopefully, then personal terms can get done quickly. But Leicester have agreed a deal with the club involved. Of course, Bayer Leverkusen, the German invincible champions. And I think the good bit about this, the key bit, is that Leicester have an obligation to buy, which for me is fantastic business. And it's a rare W in Leicester's book in terms of getting players through the door. I've said loads on the channel over this summer period. We need to utilise the loan market, and it's exactly what Leicester City are doing. So it looks like it's a 20 million option to buy option. If Leicester do obviously stay in the Premier League, but that is a long way away. But this gives us immediate firepower to get us going in the Premier League, and hopefully, Hlozek can be the man to help us stay up. But anyway, that's another story for another video. But obviously, 7 days to go now. We hopefully need to get these players in. I believe we need to get him signed by Friday if we want him to play on Monday against Tottenham. So hopefully Leicester can get this deal progressed quickly. But obviously it's a loan deal, so it shouldn't take too long. Just got to get the players' stuff done, which hopefully can get done tonight. Eden Andreas, hope you're doing all right. Right, yeah, I think in terms of it coming off, I think it's quite likely right now. I think Zaha, especially as well, could be getting done as well. Turkish sources are suggesting that deal's pretty much over the line as well, but we'll get into that a little bit later. You see Cooper's post game interview after Lens? I did. To be fair, I think in terms of what he said, he was probably right. I think he's trying to hold it in for quite a while. He's saying, "Oh, I won't let sit there and cry about it," but he did start to have multiple digs at the board in terms of get players in. Very reminiscent of what Brendan Rodgers was saying a couple of seasons ago as well. So you can tell Cooper is frustrated. In terms of him being clueless, I think tactically we were pretty clueless on Saturday. I won't completely blame that on Cooper, but yeah, I think his interview was quite interesting because it's the first time we kind of saw him complaining a bit, and obviously the board has kind of reacted this week in terms of that. So I guess it kind of worked in that sense. So Cooper just keep complaining, we can get players through. Imagine Zaha and the buy forward come together. That could potentially be on, yeah, 100%. Anyway, let's have a look at what this new man is about then, really. Because we've gone through the stories and whatnot. For me, I haven't really heard of him much before, so I think it's worth going into the stats and whatnot. And yeah, so here I've got a tactical report. This is from 2020, so obviously it's slightly outdated. But it says here that his physical build and attacking skill set is reminiscent of a young Zlatan Ibrahimovic, which is quite good. Doesn't boast the best scoring record of obviously Zlatan, which is pretty hard to do so. But yeah, he's 6'1", so he could potentially be a bit taller now, which is obviously good. It gives us Leicester a different option in terms of his ball playing ability and his playmaking ability. It's very good. We'll get into that in a minute, but he ranked extremely high in terms of creating chances last year for Bayer Leverkusen. I believe he's got he got a hat trick of assists in the Europa League semi-final, I think, or the last game of the season or something like that. I'll try and find that one up. So he's quite a playmaking kind of striker. He can drop a bit deeper, but predominantly he is up top. Which is obviously good to see. 6'1", just like I said, so he can offer something a bit different, and I think that does suit Steve Cooper Ball. We saw at Forest, he does like to have a stereotypical big man in there to try and head in, like Chris Wood, Awani. So, and if you look at the amount of crosses Abdul put in last season, he could be there to slot them in. So, yeah, for me, it does look pretty good. Let's in terms of them assists, I'm just going to quickly try and find that tweet. Just from Twitter. So this is obviously from Opta. So of the 140 players to make 50 plus Bundesliga appearances since the 22-23 season, Adam Hlozek ranks 7th for assists per 90 at 0.31. The 22-year-old ranks 11th for goal contributions per 90, 0.67. Could be fantastic additions for Leicester. So as you can see from the past couple of seasons, very central. Playmaking ability is quite good. And I think we just need a striker to stay central, really. Managed to pick up 6 assists, albeit quite limited game time. Obviously, Bayer Leverkusen have got a whole load of options going forward. Obviously they won the league going invincible, so fair play to them, like I said on that one. But yeah, I think he's a very creative striker. That's probably what we're going to need, because we are going to need chances over everyone. From that Lens game, we're lacking any creativity whatsoever. So I think the more creativity we get is better. And then if you've got that creativity, the goals are going to come, because we have got players who can finish. Albeit in the championship, but finishing's finishing, really. Obviously, you're going to have better goalkeepers, but I still back the likes of Steffi, Abdul to finish their chances if they come inside from out wide. So I think it's very positive, to be perfectly honest. I think this would be a nice bit of business from Leicester. Are we getting any left back? That is a target for Leicester as well. Owen Palmer-Atkin posted something about the priorities being a midfielder, a striker, and a left back. So I think a left back is definitely going to be on for us. Potentially a centre back as well, just like you said. Need to get Luke Thomas gone, but no one will ever sign him. Same with Daka. I think Luke Thomas. I don't know what happened to Luke Thomas' contract, because apparently I thought it was out this year, but he must have got some sort of extension when he went on loan. He obviously went on loan last season a few times to, was it Borough and Sheffield United for a bit. So I think he got a contract extension for some reason. I was going to quickly close my tabs down because I've got absolutely loads open. What should we look at next? Let's look at his F-breath, because I think that's quite an interesting thing to look at in terms of his ranks against other strikers. So in terms of this, it's quite good. Extremely green, you could say. And in terms of the similar players, if you can see on this right-hand side, they compare him to players like Jared Bowen, João Felix, Eberechi Eze, so Marco Royce. So you can kind of tell his creative output. Pass completion is quite high for a striker as well. The aerials run, obviously, as you would expect, is quite high, being 6'1". So I think his height is going to be big for us, to be perfectly honest, because when's the last time Leicester had a striker who's comfortable in the air? Obviously, Vardy's quite good in the air for a size to be honest, but in terms of being a regular threat, we have lacked that. So I think this could be a good way forward. But yeah, obviously he's still quite young. He's still pretty raw. Played a decent amount of games last season. A move to the Premier League is a bit different. It's sometimes players who come from the Bundesliga to the Premier League do struggle to adapt at times, so that could be a slight concern. But apart from that, I think this could be a good deal, and it looks like it's going to be getting done pretty quickly. Obviously, the news broke today, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, a few more updates from Fabrizio, and we can get the here we go, and hopefully get him in before Friday, so he can potentially be involved in that first game against Tottenham. We could see a debut goal from Adam Hlozek, a big header later on potentially, but yeah, it's a long way away still. I already read that, haven't I? What's going on with the Greek Donny? Yeah, we are going to look at him a bit later. I think it's Fotis Ioannidis, I think his name is. Apparently, we put a bid in, but I believe that's been rejected from Panathinaikos. So that bid was quite high. So I don't think that's going to be happening. That's probably why Leicester have moved on to their other option. And obviously the Czech Republic international. Our team going to be scary. Yeah, maybe. Based on Saturday, probably not too scary. But if we can get the right additions in and Zaha and whatnot, potentially we could be pushing for survival. But win of the league, yeah. If you beat Tottenham 4-0, yeah. But yeah, that's a long way away. In terms of his career path, quite limited, really. Like I said, he's still very young. He's been involved at the SPORTSA Prague Academy for throughout his youth days, and obviously got the move to Bayer Leverkusen in 2022 for 20 million, which or 20 million euros, which is quite a hefty price for obviously someone at his age. So he must be half decent if he's going for that much. But anyway, shall we move on to someone else? Let's go for Wilfried Zaha, because I think that's probably the closest to getting done. In terms of his goal scoring ability last season, wasn't fantastic. Actually, just let me just quickly get this tweet up. In terms of the structure of the deal, obviously earlier on Fabrizio mentioned there's an option to buy if Leicester stay up. So yeah, loan with an obligation to buy about 17 to 18 million euros, which isn't too bad. No total agreement on the player side yet, as a few more details need to be clarified. Club's confident to make the deal happen. Medical soon. Hlozek will leave Leverkusen as reported. So the positive thing is the clubs have agreed a fee. Leverkusen are happy to let him go on loan. So I don't think this should be much of an issue. The player side, I think every player wants to play in the Premier League, so it shouldn't be too difficult. And in terms of this price here, let's say Leicester do stay up, I think we'll be in a much better situation financially to kind of progress and then look to progress into a more established Premier League Prem side. I think that's why the season's so important for us, because if we can stay up, it builds the foundations to really push on and then try and go for Europe in the next 5 years or so. So I think that fee wouldn't be too bad. And obviously Leicester are quite willing to spend money in the last couple of days. So finances, I don't think we're in an awful situation. It's not fantastic. I think it's about 50 million our budget this window. Obviously, that got strengthened from the sale of Dewsbury Hall. But if we can just offload a few more players, it will be good. But the way I think it will happen, we'll just panic on the last day, and we'll see the likes of Samore, Luke Thomas just go out on loan again. It'll just be pointless. So yeah, I really hope we can get a few sales done, because surely Cooper will now have an idea of his squad and which players he wants to keep hold of, because there's no point keeping hold of some players like Samore, Luke Thomas, Christensen, etc. if they're not going to be involved. So yeah, and especially players like Christensen who hold decent value. So yeah, it's going to be an important one to do. Beat Spurs 4-1 last time, still went down. Yeah, that's true. It's classic Leicester, really. We beat Villa, didn't we, the week before that as well, and then we went on a disaster. See, Everton are meant to be getting another points deduction as well. Might help them. Yeah, it's one of them in terms of points deductions. Who knows? But I did see that about Everton, and obviously there is a potential. Obviously, they did get one before. Imagine buy forward or Zaha scores on debut, potentially a dreamland. But if we can get them two done over the line, I think they'll probably start. To be honest with you. So anyway, let's move on then to a bit on Wilfried Zaha. Obviously, we went through this story the other night. There's quite a lot of stuff coming out from Turkish journalists. Now, these aren't they're not too reliable. There is a few pretty reliable ones who have retweeted stuff. So I think it's pretty, it's pretty close. So, yeah, regarding Wilfried Zaha, the club said we expect the official documents to be completed on Monday. Zaha is about to wear the Leicester jersey. Obviously, it's Monday today, so we haven't really had too much of an update. We'll have to wait and see on that one in terms of the updates. But I'm quite confident that this one should get done pretty quickly. Obviously, once again, it's another loan. In terms of the structure of the deal, I think that's the only stumbling block because Galatasaray are wanting to pay his wages or something, and Leicester having to pay a loan fee. So I think that one is still debatable in terms of the club. There's a bit more here from a reliable source. Galatasaray's offer to Leicester City. We'll pay Zaha's full salary. You pay the loan fee. If Leicester accepts the deal, Galatasaray's transfer spending limit will open up at around 8 to 9 million euros, including the entire package. So I think in terms of this deal, it helps both clubs. Galatasaray obviously freeing up their money to reinvest this summer. Obviously, Leicester are getting a good player now. In terms of the fee, it is quite a lot for a loan, 8 to 9 million euros plus potentially some wages. But I have seen some reporters saying that fee could be lower and Leicester have to pay about 2 million plus some of his wages, which wouldn't be as bad. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But in terms of Zaha to Leicester, I'm very confident that it will get done. But just like I said, we'll have to wait and see. Cheers. Basically, Zaha will come KP's from right six. That's the dream. That is the dream. Now let's move on to someone different. Obviously, you mentioned Zaha the other night. I think one of that deal was pretty close. Where is a bit of a bad one tonight? I can't lie. I've been at work all day, so yeah. But anyway, let's get into it. Obviously, I think Jerry mentioned a bit earlier. Obviously, this came out yesterday from Tom Colowas, quite reliable. So yeah, Panathinaikos expecting bid today. 22 million from Leicester for Fotis Ioannidis. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Leicester also trying for Wilfried Zaha, etc., etc. So yeah, I think in terms of this one, it is quite pricey for a striker who's fairly unknown, but he is meant to be pretty good. He scored a few times in the Europa League last season, I think, for Panathinaikos. Obviously, he's a Greek international as well. 22 million does seem quite steep, and I did see some things suggesting that that was rejected. So, and as you know, in terms of Leicester now going for a different striker, I think that pretty much confirms to me that that's probably quite unlikely. I can't see Leicester spending too much, in terms of strikers. I think we want to move on to someone else. I wouldn't say no to it, but. Is 22 million really? I don't know. It just seems it seems very steep for me. Jesus. But it could be dying. It could be a risk worth taking. Obviously Ipswich put in a bid as well for him. That got rejected. Choking over some water, bloody hell. Yeah, obviously Southampton are interested as well. I did see that one as well. Only issue is that guy had one good season, then been dead for the rest of his career. Has he? Fair enough then. So I don't really know too much about him. I was going to discuss him a bit more, but I think it's more important we look at Hlozek tonight because I think that one is more likely to get done and be over the line in terms of the Greek forward. But we'll have to wait and see on this one. Just like I said with everything, the bid's been submitted from reliable sources. There's clear interest from Leicester City, so it's one of them really. I think the price is slightly too big for my liking, but you never know. We could get two strikers in, which is only going to benefit us. Obviously, John Percy said that as well. So yeah, I think it's clear to see that the bid has been done. But I don't know. It just seems a bit inexperienced to me. I think jumping from the Greek league to Leicester in the Premier League does seem a bit of a risk. But so I'm not too keen on it. Obviously, just like I said, John Percy, Leicester submit offer for around 23 million for Panathinaikos striker Fotis Ioannidis. Bid went in yesterday for Greece international talks ongoing Galatasaray. So yeah, I think Leicester are focusing more on Zaha right now. But I think this one could be a signing who we bring in later on in the window if necessary. I think it depends quite a lot on the extent of the injury to Daka. If Vardy can be back quite soon as well, because I think Leicester will probably want to spend that money somewhere else on the team. Obviously, we've got options up top now, especially if the two players discussed tonight, do eventually join us in the next couple of days. So yeah, I think Leicester definitely prioritise a left back, so we could potentially use that money there to get someone in. Who that is, I don't have a Scooby Doo. Potentially a centre half as well. Obviously, there's been some talk about. Obviously, Connor Cody's out for a month as well, so we need to replace him. Harry Souttar's gone on loan to Sheffield United, so there is a slight gap in terms of the centre back spot in the side. You know, especially if Leicester go on to play a back three at times this season, we are going to need some depth there. How old is he? Let me have a look. I don't actually know if he's going to load up. It's a bit of a weird name, isn't it? He is 24 years old, so not too young, but still young enough, obviously, to progress in his career. A few years away from his so-called prime. So yeah, he's an exciting player. In terms of his profile, once again, he is he's quite a robust striker. Holds the ball up. He's quite strong. So I think Cooper and Leicester got a clear idea of the type of striker they do want to bring in this window. You know, it's quite different from the likes of Vardy and Daka, who want to get him behind. So even when Vardy, returns to the side, he may not be fully utilised in terms of his ability to obviously get him behind and use his pace. So we'll have to wait and see. 24 years old, yeah, that's correct. What will happen to the point deduction? Yeah, you know as much as me on that one. To be honest, we're still waiting. I think it's going to be the next couple of months. You would hope so. Anyway, I'd rather Leicester know the point deduction now than in a few weeks. Well, no, later on in the season. Sorry, when it's like Christmas time, we could be struggling and then we get a points deduction. It's just going to demoralise the whole club, the fan base, etc. So. I think, yeah, I hope it gets done as soon as possible, really, and just so we know where we are standing, because the points deduction thing came about months ago. So surely the Premier League know how much it is now. It's not like it's Man City where there's 115 cases to run through. It's very limited. So if the Premier League know their rules properly, don't just seem to make up a number of points out of thin air, should we get done soon? But who knows? So Daka, I don't think we're all side Daka. I really don't. I think Cooper still values him as quite a good player, so I don't think that'll happen. Unless obviously a good offer comes in, and Leicester can't say no. I'd be very surprised if Daka left us, especially obviously with Kelechi leaving us. I think it's quite ridiculous that we / any team start the season without knowing what they're going to be deducted, 100%. And obviously the case is I think it's even more so for Leicester, because the fact that the the official thing about it happened months ago, saying we are going to get a deduction. So how it's taken them so long, I do not know. I do not have a clue. In terms of Leicester's targets, just before we wrap things up tonight, I think we've pretty much gone through everything. Owen Palmer-Akin, who's from BBC Radio Leicester, said that a striker, an attacking midfielder, and a left back are keen on the radar. Obviously, we've got Buonanotte, who can fill in that cam role, 10 role. I saying cam, so I'm playing FIFA. Striker, obviously, we've probably resolved that right now, and then it's just down to a left back, really, and potentially a centre back is the final option if we have got the funds to do that. In terms of the left back spot, I think that tells you a lot about the future of Victor Christensen. I think he could potentially be going. Justin is going to be playing there potentially. I'm not his biggest fan. You probably know that if you've been watching the channel for a while. I'd rather us get someone else who's a bit more comfortable defensively. But yeah, I think trying to get a left back is very tough, because you need to get one who can defend, and now especially you want someone who can go forward. But I think this season I'd rather get someone who's just a bit more defensively sound. Obviously, you like them to be a threat going forwards, but I'd rather have it the other way around. I think someone like Christensen is a bit too good going forward for my liking in terms of his defensive ability. I think that drops him back a bit, but I'm a big fan of Christensen. I think he could have a part to play, but if Cooper doesn't fancy him, I say we just get him out, get him gone when his stock's quite high after his good year, going out on loan obviously to Bologna. Where he could go, I don't know. He's probably regretting leaving Copenhagen. He probably progressed a lot more in his career if he ended up staying there, but he took that risk, and sadly for him, it hasn't really paid off as of yet. But hopefully he can stay and get some game time. What's happening with Ricardo? Ricardo's a weird one, isn't he? He hasn't really been. Obviously, didn't play too much against Lens. I don't know if that's injury stuff or he's got something niggle or something. But I don't think Cooper said that after the game. So it could just purely be selection wise. So I don't really get that, because I think Ricardo's probably one of our better players by some stretch. especially last season. But I'd still back Ricardo to be starting week in, week out, really for Leicester. Pre-season, take most of it with a pinch of salt. Obviously, the game on Saturday was not good at all, but I think with the vast majority of it, Ricardo played well against Shrewsbury, did well there. And apart from that, I haven't really watched many pre-season games, so I can't really speak too much on that. So, yeah. But I think Ricardo would definitely have a role to play. I'll be very surprised if Cooper doesn't utilise him because he's good defensively. He's fantastic on the ball. Obviously, we saw that last year when he's going to be going inside. I don't think he's going to be inverted this season to the extent of last year, but then obviously we can see that attacking ability from Ricardo because even last year we saw him play that more attacking role, replacing players like Dewsbury Hall and Wilfried and Diddy as well. But yeah, I think pretty much we've gone through everything. I was gonna have a quick look on Twitter, just to see if there is any other breaking news in terms of okay, here we go, or something like that. But no, I don't think so. Championship is obviously underway. Luton versus Burnley. I believe Burnley are up in that game, 2-0. So yeah, they've made a good start. But yeah, in terms of that, boys, I think we've pretty much gone through everything. There was a report about Leicester being interested in the Brighton centre back, Igor, I think his name is, or something like that. So see if anything's from that. But apart from that, I think that's about it, really. I think that's about it, boys. Do you watch DR Sports? No, I don't really watch much stuff to be honest with you, because I'm either doing this or working, or I don't know. Yeah, I don't really watch too much YouTube in terms of content creations. Obviously, I watch a few guys. I watch a few in the Leicester community, but no, not really. But anyway, boys, that is it for tonight's stream. Thank you very much for coming in. It's much appreciated, and much appreciated as always. I'm off work now until Friday, so hopefully we can have a few more streams next couple of nights, and fingers crossed tomorrow we can get a here we go, and it could be someone else, to be honest, at the rate it's going. But obviously 7 days now until the start of the Premier League season, so I'm going to start doing some more content around the start of that, potentially some tactical stuff, how we can line up our expectations for the season, that type of thing. So yeah, lots of content on the way. But obviously this time next week it's going to be half time against Tottenham. We're going to be 3-0 up. We're going to be cruising, and second half will probably bottle it. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, to be fair, there's been talks about Maguire with a potential loan to Leicester. I don't think that's going to be happening, but yeah, that could be an interesting one as well. But potentially we'll get an update on that tomorrow. But yeah, boys, massive thanks for coming in. Much appreciated, everyone. Drop a like if you haven't already. As I always say, massively helps the channel out, helps it grow to more Leicester fans. Subscribe as well if you haven't already. Closing on a 4K. Watch it back and play it back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And yeah, boys, hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for some more Leicester City transfer news. Hopefully, here we go soon.